Yeah, I figured I'd get in here and get going. Hurry up, media. But today we had our second day in preparation for Washington. I thought it was a good day. Our guys had a great attitude, and we flew around pretty good. A lot of times when you're starting to prepare for an opponent, you're trying to give them the look and the game plan and so forth. So you can sometimes get stagnant, but the first 2 days we hadn't been that at all, and I think our guys have really risen to the challenge and really trying to get ready to play a really good Washington team and next week. And I think our guys are to the point now, hopefully, that we're going to zero in on the things that we want to be real specific on and taking a workmanlike attitude and approach and preparing. And obviously we're going to be really, really well prepared and ready to go next week.
I was in the way.
Jim, I know you got experience going up against these guys. When you did last time, you were pretty stretched in at the quarterback position in particular. But does any of your experience as far as just preparing for this
Yeah, we actually had our quarterback back that game. I think he either came back that one or the week before, or maybe the week before. I can't really remember, but it's the same type of defense. I mean, I said all along, my experience in the Pac-12, Washington was obviously one of the top teams in that conference and was very impressed with them. We played at Washington, which is a tough place to play. They're very well coached. I see the same things on film. They were one of the best teams in the country that year. I believe that's the year they played in the playoff, I think. Is that right? So, really impressive, and I think we're going to see the same kind of team next week.
What makes their secondary so effective when they only allowed, I think it was 6 passing touchdowns last season?
Yeah, they got really good players. They're long, they're athletic, they can run. Obviously, scheme-wise, they do a great job as well. But I think at the end of the day, it's about those players, and they play really fast, and they're competitive. They contest every throw. I think that's a testament to putting them in the right position and guys being really talented.
Can you talk about your young wide receiver group? Are they continuing to make progress?
I think so. I think their head started spinning a little bit toward the end of camp, because the volume that we had installed, obviously, I think was catching up with them some. But now we're able to zero in kind of more specific on what we feel like we want to run, that next week. And I think that's going to allow those guys to continue to grow, play fast, and continue to improve. But overall, really, really impressed with that group. And we'll see how it plays out for the season and how much each of them play and all that. But I know the future's bright with that group.
Chip, as an offense, how much does it help when you start to narrow things down game plan wise and kind of let especially those younger guys kind of get their feet on it?
Oh, I think that's the key. I mean, every week you create a game plan. You can only run so many plays, so I think that really helps those guys focus, and especially young players. Your older players can recall things maybe from last spring, last fall, or even early in camp, but I think your young players, they're still learning. They're still learning the nuances of the offense and college football, to be honest with you. So I think that's a big help for those guys.
Can you talk about Caleb, how he's continuing to do, and also your 2 tackles?
Yeah, I think Caleb's progressing for sure. I think he's a guy that is obviously continuing to get quality reps, which I think is what he needs against a really good D-line that we have. And he's shown a lot of guts. He's come back, and I think he's playing better each day. And hopefully, we're able to get Nick back eventually too, and really have a good competition there at that center spot. Our 2 tackles you asked about, Tega and Jack both are really making progress. I think JB has really cleaned up their fundamentals and their techniques, and they're both really talented guys. Austin Troxell's also made strides. He's a tough, really smart guy that we feel good about those guys. Bailey Sharp has improved, so I think we're in a good spot. Just got to keep kind of fine tuning some things between now and next week.
Just how, as an offensive lineman, how important is it to find those guys, to have them to begin to work together?
Oh, I think it's extremely important. With Caleb being banged up in the spring, and Nick, and then taking a look at some other guys at that spot, I think it's extremely important. One thing that we've been pretty consistent about, though, are our 2 guards and our 2 tackles. Obviously, Trox rotated in some, but really those other 4 have been kind of set, or they've kind of worked together, which I think is really good when you're talking about double teams and things. But now, Caleb has continued to play center for us, and now we're trying to get Nick some reps too. And but I think they're both going to be just fine.
Will Brian be ready for the first game?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's limited now, and obviously he's out there with us and getting some work. So we'll just kind of wait and see how it plays out.
You know, those elite quarterbacks
Mm-hmm.
are able to raise the level of everyone around them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed that with Jarrett?
I have. Yep, I really have. I would say that our wideouts obviously he's helped them tremendously from the standpoint of a lot of communication, working together on routes and things. Hey man, I thought you should have come flat here, or I think you should go higher on this, or whatever the case may be. But I think Jarrett, now that, this time last year he was in a totally different situation. He was brand new. We didn't name him a starter. We might have by this time. I can't remember, but I think now he's put himself in position to be that leader. And Coach always talks about influencers, guys that can influence our team, and we definitely want Jarrett to be one of those guys.
You were due last year at this time too. How much more comfortable are you?
Oh, very, very much. I mean, obviously, you're never totally comfortable when you're playing a really good team like we're about to play, but very, very much so. I think it's a year into this, I feel a lot more comfortable with our players, knowing our players. I think that's important. And, been through an SEC season as a coordinator, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a great challenge next week, and we're looking forward to that as well. But, yeah, I feel pretty good.
Year two with Jared as well as a coordinator, quarterback combination, just having now, things to look back on and remember, how big is that?
I think it's huge. I mean, even way back in high school, anytime I had the guy back for the second year, I always felt just like he was more in control, like he understood exactly what you were thinking, why you were thinking. And, you can say, well, he knew the game plan each week. That's true, but it's still different from a standpoint of there's making adjustments during a game and maybe mixing some things up. So feel a lot more comfortable with Jared, and I think he does with me as well.
Ball security was an issue last year
Mhm.
at some point.
Mhm.
Have you guys addressed that at all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have addressed it. He's something that he's put an emphasis on. At the end of the day, in this league, you gotta keep two hands on it in the pocket. It really is pretty simple, and look the snap in, obviously, without being said. But I think he's made a lot of progress from a standpoint of just putting that in his head as something he wants to improve on, and he wants to be a really good player. I mean, so it's not like, he doesn't see the mistakes he makes, and I think he's made an emphasis on that in fall camp. I've noticed it.
Tim told us that Whitlow had emerged along with Camp One as kind of his leaders at running back position. What has he kind of done to stand out in your eyes?
Well, first thing he's a heavier back that I think can get downhill some. He's a really good athlete. I mean, if you go back, he was a really good high school basketball player. He's got some versatility. He can catch the football in the backfield. He's over 200, I think over 210, I think 215 somewhere in there. So he can pass protect, and I think he's a complete back. Now, experience-wise, he's not. I mean, obviously, and that's something that he's going to we'll all have to deal with. But we got three guys in that running back group that are all freshmen. The only way you can get experience is play, and hopefully that they'll play well and continue to grow as the season goes.
Excuse me.
Yep.
It's obvious that when the pocket is kept clean, the quarterback is going to perform better. The completion percentage is going to be higher. That's
Right.
The disparity, though, for Jared between when it's clean and when he's under pressure is pretty stark.
Yep.
What have you done, in particular in camp and preparing here? Obviously, you have a great defensive line.
Right.
To put him in a position of performing better when there is pressure.
Well, I think pressure is what makes all quarterbacks struggle, to be honest with you. That's what the defense tries to do. That's their goal, is to push the pocket and create pressure. I think Jarrett, from his standpoint of maybe understanding six-man protection and where he came from, they didn't do as much of that probably. It was more seven-man, so I think he's continued to grow just by watching film. And then I think being in the SEC a year, realizing and understanding that, the D-lines we play are pretty good. So, and he gets a chance to do that every day in practice. So I think a lot of that just comes with experience, to be honest.
How important would it be for Nate Craigmyers to step up and have a big season?
Well, I think he played well toward the end. I think it's important for all of them to play well. Nate does a lot of good things for us that probably go unnoticed, from blocking and those kind of things. But Nate's a guy that we feel good about. I think he can make plays in traffic, contested catches, and I think hopefully he'll have a great year.
Do you feel comfortable being able to play a couple of freshmen in the opener on the big stage?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think obviously there'll be some uneasiness, I'm sure, on their part, but hopefully we just prepared those guys and give them the opportunity in practice to play. They've kind of gotten over now of, wow, I'm in the SEC, I'm at Auburn, and now the next step is to play in a game and do well. And you're right, it's against a quality opponent, but I think we'll find out real quick, how mature some of these guys are. And at the end of the day, I want them to relax and just play. And if they make mistakes, we'll learn from it. But just go play and have fun doing it. And I think if you take that attitude and not try to think about all the things that go along with it, I think they'll have their, the best chance to be successful.
Who among that group has a chance to play week one?
I think they all do. I think Shedrick Jackson. I think Matthew Hill. I think Seth Williams. I think Anthony Schwartz. I mean, I think they're all going to have an opportunity. How much depends. Do you want to take Ryan Davis off the field? I don't know. We'll have to see how the game plan works out. But he can't play every snap. So do you want to take Darius Slayton off? I think you have to ask yourself in certain situations how important that is. But at the same time, I do think they'll all have some kind of role.
Chip, you talk about been through the SEC once. When you got a lot of players who you've also seen go through the SEC,
Right.
how valuable is that for you as a coordinator?
Yeah.
To know that, have that much information on those guys.
I think it's extremely valuable. You're talking about our own guys, right? Yeah, I mean, how they react, how they respond in different situations. Coach Malzahn talked to our team today about handling adversity. Who's going to handle adversity the right way? Because every game there's adversity, obviously, and some teams handle it better than others. And I think that's something that he's focused on as the head coach of our entire team, handling adversity well, and really kind of looking forward to it because it's going to happen. You got to expect it and know that adversity's coming. But I think knowing how our players respond, obviously having some guys back that have played some, I think that's a really important deal.
Of those 4 freshman receivers, if any one of the 4 or 2 of them maybe stepped above the other ones?
I wouldn't say that. I think they all have had their moments, and they've all had their ups and downs. They've all had their struggles as well. So I think as a group, I think they've done a nice job.
One of the players you coach, Devin Adams, got a scholarship.
He did,
Talk
yeah.
about what he does for you.
Really excited for Devin. I know Coach was excited to make that decision because Devin's been here a while. He's very well liked by our team. He's a great representation of Auburn and the quarterbacks, and he's just a guy that'll do anything you ask him to do. We call him the natural because he doesn't get a lot of reps and go in a scrimmage and complete balls. So Coach Malzahn gave him the nickname the natural, which is good. But he's a great kid, great mom, and really excited for him.